Before you keep watching this story, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself this question. How far can the truth hide before it begins to destroy everything around it? Because what you are about to hear is not just another story. It is a hidden chain of events that connects three powerful names in a way no one ever imagined. And if you stay till the very end, you will uncover a truth that changes everything you thought you knew. So make sure you watch till the last second and decide for yourself what is real and what was carefully hidden. It all started quietly, without noise, without headlines, without anyone noticing anything unusual, just another ordinary day in a world where fame shines bright and secrets hide even brighter, and right at the center of it all were Shen Yue, Dylan Wang, and Lee Min-ho, three names known across continents, admired by millions, and followed by eyes that never sleep. But what no one knew was that behind the smiles, behind the cameras, behind every perfect appearance, there was a silent tension building, something unspoken, something that connected them in a way that was never meant to be seen. Shen Yue was the first to notice it, not as a clear truth, but as a feeling, a quiet unease that followed her like a shadow, something that made her pause in moments where everything seemed normal, something that made her question conversations that others would forget instantly. She tried to ignore it, convincing herself it was just pressure, just stress, just the weight of fame, but the feeling refused to leave. Dylan Wang, on the other hand, carried a different kind of silence, one that looked calm from the outside but felt heavy within. He had always been confident, always composed, always in control, but recently there was a distance in his eyes, a pause before he spoke, a hesitation that was not there before, as if he was carefully choosing what to reveal and what to hide. And then there was Lee Min-ho, distant yet somehow connected, calm yet observant, someone who never needed to speak too much to understand everything happening around him. He noticed details others missed, small changes in tone, brief glances, moments that lasted only seconds but carried meaning far deeper than words. The connection between them was not obvious, it was subtle, almost invisible, like threads woven into a pattern only visible when you step back and look closely, and that is exactly what began to happen. One evening changed everything. It was supposed to be a simple meeting, nothing unusual, nothing dramatic, just a quiet gathering away from cameras, away from noise, a moment to breathe in a world that rarely allows it. But something felt different that night. The air itself carried tension, like a storm waiting to break. Shen Yue arrived first, her steps calm but her mind restless. She looked around the room and felt it again, that same unease, stronger this time, harder to ignore. She could not explain it, but she knew something was about to happen. Dylan Wang arrived shortly after, his expression unreadable, his presence strong yet distant. He greeted her normally, but there was a pause in his voice, a slight shift in his tone, something so small yet impossible to miss. And then Lee Min-ho entered. Everything changed in that moment. It was not dramatic, not loud, not obvious, but the atmosphere shifted instantly, like a hidden truth had just stepped into the room, unseen yet undeniable. No one spoke about it. No one acknowledged it. But all three of them felt it. The conversation that followed was normal on the surface. Light words, casual topics, quiet laughter, but underneath it all, there was something else moving, something deeper, something that connected every word to something unspoken. Shen Yue noticed the glances, the brief eye contact between Dylan Wang and Lee Min-ho, moments so quick they could easily be dismissed, but she saw them, she felt them, and with every passing second, the unease inside her grew stronger. What were they not saying? What was being hidden in plain sight? As the night went on, the silence between certain moments became louder than any conversation. Pauses stretched longer, words felt heavier, and slowly, the truth began to reveal itself, not in a single moment, but in fragments, pieces that only made sense when connected together. There was something they both knew, something they both had experienced, something that involved Shen Yue in a way she had never expected. But instead of revealing it, they kept it buried beneath calm expressions and controlled words, as if exposing it would change everything. And maybe it would. Because sometimes the truth is not hidden to protect others, sometimes it is hidden, because once it is revealed, nothing can ever go back to the way it was. Days passed after that night, but nothing felt the same. Shen Yue could not shake the feeling that she was standing in the middle of something far bigger than she understood, something carefully constructed, something that had been building long before she even noticed it. She started paying attention to everything, every conversation, every silence, every look, and slowly, piece by piece, the hidden truth began to take shape. It was not what she expected. It was not simple. It was not something that could be easily explained. It was a truth that connected all three of them through decisions made in the past, choices that were never meant to come to light, actions that carried consequences now impossible to escape. Wang had known. Li Minho had known. And now Shen Yue was beginning to understand. But understanding comes with a cost. Because once you see the truth, you can no longer pretend it does not exist. The final moment came quietly, without warning, without drama, just a simple realization that changed everything. Shen Yue finally saw the full picture, not just the fragments, not just the hints, but the complete truth that had been hidden all along. And in that moment, everything made sense. The silence, the tension, the distance, the unspoken connection. It was never random. It was never accidental. It was all connected. And the truth was never meant to be discovered. But now it was. And nothing would ever be the same again. So now I ask you again, how far can the truth hide before it begins to destroy everything around it? And after hearing the story, do you think some truths should remain hidden, or is it better to face them no matter the consequences? If this story made you think, if it made you question what really happens behind the scenes, then make sure you like this video, subscribe, and stay with us for more stories that reveal what the world was never supposed to see. Do not look away now, because the moment you have been waiting for is finally here, the moment where everything hidden begins to reveal itself, the moment where silence can no longer protect the truth. So stay with me till the very end, because what happens next will change everything you thought you understood, and when it is over, you will realize that some truths are never meant to be discovered, but once they are, they can never be undone. After that night, nothing returned to normal. Not the conversations. Not the silence. Not even the way they looked at each other. Shen Yue could no longer ignore the feeling that had been following her, because now it was no longer just a feeling. It was something real, something growing clearer with every passing moment. She began to notice everything. Every pause. Every glance. Every word that felt incomplete. And most of all, the way Wang and Li Minho avoided certain conversations, as if they were walking carefully around something they both knew could not be spoken out loud. It was not fear. It was something deeper. Regret. One evening, Shen Yue made a decision. No more silence. No more guessing. No more waiting. She sent a simple message. We need to talk. No explanation. No emotion. Just truth waiting to be heard. The reply came quickly. Tonight. That single word carried weight. The kind of weight that comes before everything changes. The meeting place was quiet, far from the noise of the world. A place where no cameras could reach, where no voices could interrupt what needed to be said. She arrived first. This time, not confused. Not uncertain, but ready. Moments later, Wang walked in. His expression calm, but his eyes heavy. Then came Li Minho. And just like before, the air shifted. But this time, it was different. This time, there was no pretending. No hiding. No silence strong enough to protect what was about to come. Shen Yue looked at both of them. No hesitation. No more secrets. She said, her voice steady, but filled with everything she had been holding back. Wang looked down for a moment. Li Minho remained still. And then, finally, the truth began to unfold. Not all at once, but slowly, carefully, like something fragile being revealed piece by piece. It started in the past, long before Shen Yue noticed anything. A project, a decision, a moment where both Wang and Li Minho found themselves connected through something that seemed small at the time. But that moment changed everything. There had been a choice, one that affected all three of them, one that was never meant to come to light. Wang spoke first. I thought I could fix it before you found out. His voice low, controlled, but filled with regret. Shen Yue's heart tightened. Fix what? She asked. Her voice quieter now, because deep down she already knew. Lee Min-ho finally spoke. It was never supposed to involve you. That was the moment everything became clear. The distance, the silence, the tension. It was not just about something happening now. It was about something that had already happened. Something they both carried. Something they both hid. You both knew, she said. Not a question. A realization. Dylan Wang nodded slowly. And in that moment, something inside her broke. Not loudly, not suddenly, but completely. You decided for me, she continued, her voice shaking now. You kept me in something I did not fully understand. No one responded immediately, because there was nothing to say that could change what had already been done. I trusted both of you, she whispered, and that whisper carried more weight than anything else. The silence that followed felt endless. But this time it was not hiding anything. It was revealing everything. Lee Min-ho stepped forward slightly. We thought we were protecting you, but she shook her head. No. Her voice breaking. You were protecting yourselves, and that was the truth. The real truth. Not just what happened, but why it was hidden. Fear, regret, and the hope that some things would never come back to the surface. But they did. And now, there was no escaping it. Tears filled Shen Yue's eyes. But she did not look away. Not anymore. Why now? She asked. Why let me find out like this? Dylan Wang closed his eyes briefly. Because we ran out of time. That answer said everything. There was no plan left. No way to hide it anymore. No way to control what came next. And in that moment, Shen Yue made her decision. Not out of anger. Not out of impulse. But out of clarity. I cannot stay in this, she said. Her voice calm again, but final. Both men remained silent, because they understood. This was the consequence, not just of what they did, but of what they chose not to say. I need to walk away, she continued, not asking, not waiting, just deciding. Dylan Wang looked at her, his expression softer now, filled with something he could not fix. I am sorry, he said. Lee Min-ho remained still, his silence heavier than words. Shen Yue nodded slightly, not in forgiveness, but in acceptance. Acceptance that some things cannot be undone, and some truths change everything. She turned and walked away, not looking back, not stopping, because she knew if she did, it would only make it harder. And that was the end, not of everything, but of what once connected them. Time moved forward, as it always does, but the truth they shared remained, not spoken, not repeated, just remembered, as something that changed them forever. So now I ask you one final question. Was the truth worth it? Or should some things remain hidden forever? If this story stayed with you, if it made you feel something real, then do not just scroll away. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more stories that go deeper than what the world shows. Because some truths are not just told, they're felt.